It's time for the Movin the Chains podcast. Your home for high school football coverage in the Palmetto State. Every team, every game, every week. And now your hosts, Kevin Thomas and John Epps.
Welcome in, folks. Kevin Thomas, John Epps here. Week 10 South Carolina High School Football Preview Show. John, last week of the regular season, it flew by. But, man, we got some big games again this week for sure.
Yeah, we're deciding who's going to be region champs in a lot of games, and that's a big deal for home field advantage, and I think even more important, sets you up for who you have to play and who you don't have to play down the playoff stretch.
Yes, it is a big advantage to get at least a couple games at home. That's why you get that one seed if you can. I know the 2 seed usually get one game and then travel. With that 1 seed, you get at least 2. So definitely want to be in that spot. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, we appreciate you. We do a preview show live on Facebook every Tuesday night. Next week we'll have our playoff preview shows, our 1, 2, and 3A in a group, and our 4 and 5A in a group. So definitely like our video, like our page here to stay up to date with everything that we do live on here. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS over there. Check out our audio-only version on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast at. We're on there as well. We do a recap show on usually Sunday or Monday afternoons. It comes out that kind of recaps everything from the week before. That's the audio-only show, so definitely follow us on the podcast places for that one. And then, John, we've got some big stuff coming up. Like we mentioned, we had some big stuff last week with the interviews with Coach Robert Muster from Powderville and whatnot. But I know I just hit on this, but I'm really excited about those preview shows next week.
Oh, yeah, it's maybe the preview show for the year is a lot of fun. I like the playoff one even more because then we see the brackets and see who probably is going to match up with who. And, you know, gosh, I remember we were talking this afternoon last year about how good of a season Greenville had and the way their region tiebreaker worked out. They didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Glad to be away from that one team per region rule like we had during COVID last year. But lots of stuff still to get settled out here. And, John, let's get into our 4 games of the week, all 4 of which have a region championship on the line. The first one here, probably the game that we're going to be at. That's TL Hanna at Hillcrest Friday night over there in Simpsonville, John. TL Hanna coming off a 28-22 victory over Burns. A little bit closer than people thought. Hillcrest 51-7 over Man. Who are you leaning to in your early thoughts on this game between the Yellow Jackets and the Rams there?
I think Hanna is the better team. I think Hanna wins this game. You know, what I think about is, hey, Hillcrest's been playing really well lately. They're a good team. We saw them at the beginning of the year. Like a lot of what they have on offense. But, you know, we saw them get beat by Greenwood at home to start the year off. And Hanna is like the 5A version of Greenwood. They run that similar offense. They like to keep the ball on the ground. A little bit of misdirection, a little bit of option, running the football. And, again, like Greenwood, they do it very well. They're a little bit deeper. They're a little bit bigger than Greenwood, which is hard to believe. And they've been doing it for a while. They're very familiar with it. I like Hanna a little bit in this ball game. I'll tell you what, Hillcrest has got the offense to really make this game interesting. And you got the region on the line, and this is a big playoff game last year over in Anderson as well.
Yeah, we were at that ball game there at TL Hanna as they played last week of the season as well. But, yeah, this is a game where, you know, I was really high on Hanna. I saw them beat Malden a few weeks ago. They looked really good. I thought they were kind of coming along because they had to replace a lot. But then they beat Burns by 6. Not that that's a bad, you know, that's a good win. Like Burns, but we don't think they're as good as they have been. So that kind of surprised me a little bit. They have been
as well.
They have been.
They've been able to figure out the defense a little bit. So I thought that game was going to be a closer.
Yeah. it'll be interesting to see, what Hanna's going to do, how much they've been holding back. We talked about how they've had weeks where they've had 14 different guys to carry the ball, 10 different guys carry the ball. You wonder if maybe now that they've got this big game here against Hillcrest, maybe they kind of settle in and say, hey, here's our studs. Are they holding back a couple guys and maybe giving them 5 carries instead of 10 or 15? You wonder if they're going to kind of narrow that down a little bit this week. Been playing 2 quarterbacks with Dillard and Fretwell. Like I said, 10-plus guys carrying it with Johnson and Morrison and Batchelor and Cothran. So many options there on that offensive side. While then Hillcrest, we talked about their offense and their talent all year long. Quarterback Bennett Judy, I think he has 21 TDs on the season. He had another 5 last week. The running back Logan Coldren has another 10 TDs on the ground. Receiver Avery McFadden has 9 TDs. They've got Wisniewski and Neal and Jackson out there. Coldren's a receiving threat. It's going to be an interesting ballgame because I like both the offenses a lot. And this could be a quick game because obviously TL Hanna is going to run it. They're going to keep the ball on the ground and run that clock. But Hillcrest has really started running the ball more lately too. I think they had 300-plus yards against Malden on the ground, I believe it was. They've had 200-plus in several other ball games there. The Rams have kind of switched over to that running offense, and that may help them where if they get a lead, maybe they can, kind of grind some clock on TL Hanna.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. I think for Hanna, I think the tough part for them in this game is stopping Hillcrest. Mm-hmm. Hillcrest's got a great offense, and they've been playing pretty good defense lately too. But yet the problem is for Hanna, if they do get down, and especially late in the game, it'd be great for Hillcrest if they get up early to be able to dictate the tempo a little bit more as to what they want to do. But if you get down to a fourth quarter game, Hillcrest has the lead. Boy, if you can make Hanna have to throw the football a little bit more than they're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Last year, that game we went to, I think they threw the ball maybe half a dozen times.
Yeah.
They didn't really have to, but if you make them do something out of their norm, boy, you really put them in a tough spot. Whereas Hillcrest, they prove they can do either. They can go through the air. They can now run the ball a lot more this year. Hillcrest's got a great opportunity.
They do.
They have a very, very good opportunity.
They do. So some more stats here on Hillcrest. Some that I like, some that I don't like. One of these, John, is they've got a really good return game. They've had 4 return touchdowns this year between McFadden and Jones. That could be big in a game like this where, you have a big return on a punt or a kickoff or whatever to put you in good position. Could be a big play there. But then one I don't like, they've had 9 penalties or more in 7 out of their 8 games. And against a team like TL Hanna, we say it every year, you got to be disciplined. You got to play smart. 9 penalties is not the way you want to go against the Yellow Jackets. But and then another one I do like for Hillcrest here. In the second half, they've outscored opponents 168-78 in the second half. So they really pulled away late in the games. Love to see that. I think I'm going to lean Hillcrest here. When I saw TL Hanna play Malden had some good success running the ball on those guys. So they just got behind early and couldn't catch up. They were down a couple scores right from the jump. It felt like TL Hanna ran more of a 3-3-5, which kind of allowed Deuce Caldwell and Jaden Lucas and those guys to get some yards on the ground. And I think that Hillcrest can kind of do the same thing with Coldren and all those guys. They got they're running the ball. This would be Hillcrest's only 4th region title ever, which is kind of tough to believe for a team that's been pretty good. They won a state championship a few years ago. And one thing I do like in their favor, John, is you mentioned them playing Greenwood. They play Greenwood and Woodmont. Both teams that run kind of that wing T triple option. So this isn't like a one-off deal with TL Hanna. They've had some experience with that. And hats off to Coach Frady there for scheduling Greenwood, knowing they're going to need that later in the year there. I'm going to lean with the Rams at home. I think Hillcrest wins this ball game. I think it's a very close game. I like the Rams at home.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a one-score game. I would not be surprised if Hillcrest wins, but I think Hanna's a little bit better. You mentioned how well they've done in the second half. Hillcrest, in the game we went to against Greenwood, gosh, they just got so far down in the first half. And in the second half, they found themselves a little bit more. They started to throw the ball a bit more and started to play a little bit better defense. Keep it in. Don't let the game get out of hand in the first half.
Yeah, that's why, when I talked about going to that Malden game a couple weeks ago, I thought Malden made a huge mistake. They won the toss and deferred. If you win the toss against TL Hanna, I think you want to take the ball, score, take the lead, and just go from there. Because if you fall behind, it kind of wears on you like, oh, man, these guys are going to be a machine. They're going to score. So you don't want to let them score first. You want to score first on TL Hanna. That's why if I win the toss, I'm taking the ball. Hopefully Hillcrest does that. We'll see what happens Friday night.
I totally agree with that. And I know that goes against kind of conventional wisdom. But, if Hanna, you can play 12-minute quarters. If Hanna gets the ball and they take up half the first quarter, go down and score, it's not that big of a deal, but boy, that is draining on you because in the offense, it's like, man,
we got to score quick.
We're halfway through the first quarter. We haven't touched the ball yet. You press a little bit, whereas if you're able to get the ball, you go down and score, whether it takes you 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever, you eliminate that.
Yep.
You got some momentum on your side, and even if Hanna takes the rest of the first quarter, goes down, ties the game, whatever.
That's right.
You're pretty much going
tied for a quarter. That's fine. Yep, exactly
Not
right.
a big deal.
And so it should be a great ball game Friday night over there at Chandler Stadium for Dorman Hillcrest and TL Hanna. Quick shout out here to Kevron, Chad's in here, Tyrell's in here, Melvin, Jacory, Patrick's in here, Rashodi, Shannon, Quentin. Patrick says, "What's up, guys? Go Engines." Patrick, good to see you, man. Appreciate it. Hats off. Congrats to Gaffney, winning that region championship last week. Big dub for those guys there. Rashodi says TL Hanna wins. I honestly think it's a toss-up. I'm leaning Hillcrest. I think it's a toss-up really either way. Kevron says go Gray, and then Pelion versus Edisto. Gray, big game versus Newberry playing for the region this year. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Then Pelion versus Edisto. Pelion, big win over Barnwell last week. Really surprised me.
Big.
Think they'll beat Edisto pretty easily there. And then Tyrell Foxworth, I see you in here. We'll talk about you guys here in a minute with that Lakeview game. That's one of our games of the week as well. But let's move to our second one here, John. Another region championship on the line. 2 teams before the season started where I don't think we would have thought this was a region championship game. That's York at South Pointe. You know, we knew South Pointe was good. We talk about them every year, how they're a top, contender. We were actually surprised that they weren't higher in the preseason poll.
Yeah.
I remember talking about that. York, a team that kind of flew under the radar for even a lot of the season. They kept winning, but we didn't really think they were great. We talked about Indian Land doing some good things there, and then even Lancaster doing some good things in that region. Catawba Ridge obviously was a hot name for a while. But York is right there playing against the Stallions Friday night, John. Who do you like in this matchup?
I'll tell you, I like South Pointe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think South Pointe is they've been tested a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to me, that's a really, really big thing. And they not only have they been tested, they have beat some really, really good teams. Most notably, knocking off Northwestern to start the season off in a very impressive game. And then they got put through the pressure cooker again in a triple overtime game against South Lawrence. That was a Sellers.
Yes, when he was still there at South Lawrence. Yep.
Great win there. Their one loss is to Spring Valley.
A good 5A team.
A very good 5A team. They lost a defensive battle 14-7. I think they're a really good team. They played some tough teams. They're coming off a win against an Indian Land team. They've been playing good this year, beaten by 2 scores. I think South Pointe's a little bit better here. But the thing that York, I think, has going for them is the only game that they've lost was their first game of the year against Cox Mill out of Concord, North Carolina. No idea what they are. Never heard of that school before. I don't know. Maybe they have a ton of talent. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Hard to tell, right? We don't look at those guys. But they've struggled a little bit against some teams that just, Union County, they just haven't been that great. That was a 1-score game. The Rock Hill game, not a good Rock Hill team.
Yeah.
A 1-score game. But Westwood, a low-scoring game there. Westwood with a big win. Your team of the week.
Yeah, beat Irma last Friday, yeah.
A Catawba Ridge team that started to slide a little bit. They won that game by a score. It's hard to tell York, but they're winning.
Yeah.
They're winning.
They are. In York, great coach here, Dean Boyd. He's been, all over the state, Marlboro County, whatnot. Really good coach there for several years. They've got a really good rushing attack led by the quarterback, Aiden Davis, running backs Glasgow, Thompson, and Guthrie. They got a big-time receiver, Javon Long, really fast, getting some college looks there. But they're a young team, John. They've got a lot of sophomores, a lot of guys who have not been in this position before. While you put it over to South Pointe, they're here every year. So you wonder how much of a factor that plays there. That defense, though, led by Russell and Eddington, those guys, is pretty good also. South Pointe, I think they had a bye week last week. I think that Indian Land game may have been 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure. But they've got the McCrory kid at quarterback, Thompson running back, Wayman Generette, one of my favorite players in the state at wide receiver there, and then A.J. Miller, defensive end. I think he had that 7-sack game earlier this year. Well, interesting to see what happens there. I know that South Pointe's had some problems protecting the passer as well. So if York can get after them a little bit, maybe they can kind of make it a defensive struggle there. This is a game that I think I'm going to go South Pointe because of the experience and being at home. But I think York probably keeps it close. I think they could be a team that's sneaking in the playoffs as well.
I think it's going to be very close. And I think York's a team that's going to be one to look out for in the playoffs too, because they're good enough to play with anybody. It seems like. We'll see once we get to the playoffs. Yeah, just like the talent at South Point. They got some really good players. The coaching staff, they've been there before. They know what to do. With York, hey, if you're York, don't change anything.
Yeah.
Do what you've been doing. It's been working all year. Don't put added pressure on these young 10th graders. Hey, it's a region championship. Really, if I'm York, I'd say, hey, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're in the playoffs. Let's work on what we can work on. Let's do what we've done all year. If we win the game, awesome. But I wouldn't don't put more added pressure on.
Yeah, you're getting a home playoff game either way, so leave it all out there.
That's right. And hey, they're going to be gassed up enough. This is last game of the year. It's against what I think is probably a bit of a new rival for York, playing South Point. Another big dog in York County. I don't know. I think York's probably the one with the chip on their shoulder because they're not one of the York County big dogs. They're not a Northwestern. They're not a Rock Hill. They're not South Point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see Derek Mathey in here now. We've got Rashodi saying York was surprising this season, but he's going with South Point. I agree. I think so as well there, John. Our third game of the week here is a game that the records necessarily aren't great for these teams, but still region championship, someone on the line. I'll explain that here in a minute. That's Dorman at Spartanburg. Dorman coming off a 54-27 win over Wade Hampton. Spartanburg coming off a 35-7 win over Riverside. Both teams have been kind of up and down this year. Dorman lost some games early to Clover and to Fort D and whatnot. Started playing better for a few weeks there, but then they lost to Gaffney and to Burns. Spartanburg started off slow without Raheem Jeter. Lost to Gaffney week 1. Had a couple of tough losses. Lost to Dutch Fort Big, but who didn't, obviously. Kind of hitting their stride. Had a nice win over Burns a few weeks ago. They've beaten Riverside. They've beaten Bowling Springs, those guys like that. Interesting to see how this game goes. Dorman been playing still kind of the two quarterbacks with Talley and Bomar. Talley more the passer, Bomar more the rusher. The running backs Black and Foster and those guys. Wide receivers Norman and Porter. We know what the big O-line with the Anderson kid going to Clemson there. Defense led by Hudson Lee. Just name after name after name, John. But I think they're 4-5, 4-4 on the year.
Yeah,
5-3. I don't know. That's Spartanburg's 5-3. Yeah, sorry, I don't know.
Dorman's 4-4.
Dorman's 4-4. Okay. But then Spartanburg, we said, Raheem Jeter came back, has really lifted that offense up a lot. And last week they got running back Drake Carter back. Was a dynamic player early in the year, went out for a while, and he is back now and should be good to go for this game. He's a big time player that could really help out the Vikings Friday night. Yeah,
I've been a little bit critical of Spartanburg last 2 years, really, but they've been playing a lot better lately. And I don't blame them for the Dutch Fork game. Nobody has been able to really touch Dutch Fork. And then you go back, one of their other losses was a one-score game to Malden. A Malden team that's got a ton of talent and is really good. And then their other loss outside of that is a gap.
Yeah.
So 2 of their 3 losses are to arguably the 2 best teams in the state. You can't really hate them for that, and they've been playing really good lately. And the big thing is they're healthy.
Yeah.
They weren't healthy at the beginning of the year. They didn't have Jeter, like you said, for a while. So I like Spartanburg in this game. I think they're training the right way. And with Dorman, going into the year, I was super high on Dorman. And then they lose that opener to Clover, and it's like, ooh, what happened?
Clover team that is proving to be not very good.
We thought Clover was going to be good. I think everybody thought Clover was going to be good after that game. But Dorman just is underwhelmed a little bit this year, and they're unpredictable.
You know what's crazy to me about Dorman? I think about this earlier. The 2 most impressive games for Dorman this year for me are losses.
Yeah.
When they played Fort Dorchester close on the road, and they played Gaffney close a few weeks ago as well. So they haven't really won a big game. I just don't know what to make of these guys. I thought they had it figured out a little bit with what they were doing with Bomar and whatnot, with the big win over Ridgeview and then Riverside. I thought they were really trending in the right direction. But then the Gaffney loss, they still played well there. But then the Burns game, and scored 17 points. I don't know what to make. I think I'm leaning Spartanburg as well at home. I think Raheem Jeter steps up his time to shine. I think he brings them a region championship. But I'll break that down for a second here, John. So we have a potential for a 3-way tie in this region. One of the craziest, region tiebreakers as well is in this. We'll go to here in a second. So the region tiebreaker is points allowed at the end of the third quarter against, points differential in the third quarter against teams in region. So if Dorman
just the third quarter.
Yep. After in the third quarter. Yeah.
To this.
Yeah. So if Dorman wins the game, and they're leading by 6 or more after 3, they'll be the 1 seed. Spartanburg 2, Burns 3. If Dorman wins and they're leading by 5 or less after the third quarter, Burns wins the region. Dorman 2nd, Spartanburg 3rd. If Spartanburg wins the game, they're the 1 seed. Burns 2, Dorman 3. So Lots to figure out here. I think Spartanburg wins and just says we're gonna be done with it. I'm just gonna take control. I think the Vikings win this game, but could be a very, very exciting ball game.
It'd be very interesting to tune into the end of that third quarter. You know?
Right? Yeah. So where Patrick says he has no idea who to take. He thinks Dorman, but it sounds like Spartanburg's played well, gave them all they wanted. Rashodi said he's taking Spartanburg as well. Yeah, I think we're both going that direction, John. I think we're both going there. And Ryan Franklin, appreciate you tuning in as well, man. Let's go to our another game of the week here, John. See any more comments on that one?
No, I think I love Dorman, but part of it is Dorman. You know, their best win of the year was probably against a Riverside team that's just started to get down.
When they lost their quarterback after the first drive too, so it's hard to.
Spartanburg is impressive. I like Spartanburg.
Yeah, game. I agree.
Probably first time I picked them this year.
Could be for me too. I think
a big game.
I think so. And now our next game of the week, one that I know Derek and Tyrell are going to be tuning into. That's Green Sea-Floyds traveling to Lakeview. Another region championship game on the line, John. Wild Gators and Trojans both in the top 10 here. Green Sea coming off a 30-26 win over Hanna Hillcrest last week. A wild game there. A game that actually was scoreless in the fourth quarter between those two teams. Crazy there. Lakeview coming off a 22-20 overtime victory over Waccamaw, a 3A school there. Green Sea-Floyds led by the quarterback Lovett. They got the wide receiver Dameron out there. Running backs Johnson, Thorndike, and Watson. Lakeview led by quarterback DJ Bethay, over 1,000 yards passing there. Wide receiver Shaheed Dawkins and the Page kid. Running backs Foxworth and Bellman. Defense is kind of led by Norton there. John, who are you leaning to here? These are the last 5 or so years, perennial 1A powerhouses.
Yeah, and Green Sea-Floyds, they weren't high on the radar last year, and this year they bounced back and played a lot better.
I believe their one loss is to Aner, I think, who also beat Lakeview. Lakeview also lost to HP there, but yeah, Green Sea has been tough all season long, except for that one game. I mean, they lost. No shame in losing to 3A Aner.
Yeah, so I think I go with the home team on this. Mm-hmm. I think Lakeview wins this one. I think it's going to be razor close. Hard to judge the Waccamaw game last week, going to overtime. They are a bigger school. I expected Lakeview to win that game by a little bit more. I think I want to say Dylan played Waccamaw earlier this year. Smoked them. But I like Lakeview. They're at home. They know what they're doing. They're good. Green Sea-Floyds, I don't know. They played great. They played great all year. But I think Lakeview's a little bit better.
One thing to look out for, too, as well, Green Sea-Floyds, a running back, Colby Thorndike, went down with an injury last week, and he's questionable for the game. Not sure if he's going to be back or not for the Trojans. If he is, that's a big pickup for them. John, I did want to throw this out there I was reading about today about Green Sea-Floyds. They missed 28 of the first 43 days of practice because of COVID. Ooh, just nuts. I know Horry County had some of the toughest rules in the state as far as practice went this year. So hats off to those guys and Coach Price and those guys for able to get back in the groove of things and put things together after missing, that's 4 weeks worth of practice at least probably early in the year. So I think I'm leaning Lakeview as well. A little more dynamic on offense with the passing game and the running game with Bethay and Bellman and Foxworth and Dawkins, those guys. I think they're a little more dynamic offensively. I think the Wild Gators at home win this ball game, win the region Friday night.
I think so too. The only bit of hesitation I have is that Hanna Pamplico game. Lakeview dropped that game, a little bit of an upset by Hanna Pamplico, and I think it was the week after Green Sea-Floyds knocked them off.
Maybe, possibly. Yeah, Derek says going to be a good game. So they were kind of stagnant against Waccamaw, taking nothing away from those guys. Yeah. I mean, Derek, good win for sure. It was a little surprising the overtime portion of a big win there. Shout out to Gabrielle and Brian for checking us out. Thank you guys for tuning in. John, that's our 4 games of the week here. Let's give a quick shout out to some of our friends, and we'll start with our friends over at the Georgia Agency, Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew. Serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 35 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Merleton. They can help you all over the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, Aiken, etc. So wherever you are, give those guys a call. Whether you're a small business owner or a seasonal employee or a waiter that doesn't have insurance through your company, whatever it is, they can help you guys out. So give them a buzz. TheGeorgiaAgency.net. That's TheGeorgiaAgency.net. And then our other friends over at Secured Advantage Federal Credit Union. They have a clear purpose to improve the financial lives of their members. They offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees that other banks do. Whatever your personal journey, Secured Advantage is here to offer you smart financial solutions. Join today at securedadvantagefcu.com. That's securedadvantagefcu.com. Secured Advantage Federal Credit Union. Win at banking, thrive at life. Member NCUA. UA. Another comment here from Ryan said he thinks it'll be close, but he's taking Lakeview. And then Derek says our two backs have been out the past 2 weeks, and Foxworth's been carrying the load. Yeah, I've seen some good stats on Foxworth lately. He's been doing a good job for you guys. I know he's kind of a younger kid, so Tyrell, hats off to you, man. Good job playing out there. Interesting to see how this ball game goes, but it should be like I said, one of the 4 best in the state. We think, John, Friday night.
Absolutely.
Really good ball game there, John. Let's run through some of the statewide schedules here, 5A through 1A, and give some thoughts as we do it. As we still have some other, maybe not region championships, but some playoff seeding on the line for sure.
Yeah, and we have some really good rivalry games too. Rivalry, it's not all of them, but a good bit of some rivalry games. Starting in the Low Country, got RB Stall going to Ashley Ridge. Cane Bay will go to Berkeley. Rivalry game here, Blythewood hosting Ridgeview. Ridgeview and trending down.
Yes.
There's a chance for Blythewood to get a big win here.
I believe Ridgeview locked in a playoff spot with that win over Rock Hill, I think, in that last one of that region. But yeah, they have started high, really fell off there. So they've got the talent. They've got the talent. They'll be a tough 4 seed for somebody, but we'll see what happens here.
And we've got Greenwood going to Boiling Springs. Good, a bit. It might be a test. I think Greenwood beats them up pretty bad.
I think
this is a 5A, 4A game. Boiling Springs 5A team. We got Sumter going to Conway. Fort Mill will go to Gaffney. So Gaffney will get a nice tune-up for the playoffs. Stratford will go to Goose Creek. As we talked about, the game that good chance we'll be at is Hanna at Hillcrest. Malden will be at JL Man. Chapin going to Lexington.
Good ball game there.
Yeah, this is a good game. Lexington, a team that's been playing pretty good in the back half of the season. They took it on the chin to Dutch Fork last week. Yeah. But this would be a big game for their region too. On who can get that number 2 seed. It'd be a big one for either of those. We've got Clover going to Nation Ford. White Knoll will be at River Bluff. Expect River Bluff will probably win that game.
I think so.
So that could have some implications on Chapin and Lexington as well within that region. Then a big game at District 5 or District 3 Stadium. Northwestern at Rock Hill. I say Northwestern at Rock Hill. Northwestern versus Rock Hill.
Yeah, they're the away team on the scoreboard. I guess.
Expect Northwestern to roll.
I think so too.
Another big game, region-wise, Dorman going to Spartanburg. We have Carolina Forest at St. James. Somerville will host Fort Dorchester.
I'm looking for a big bounce back out of Fort D there. I believe they only scored 18 points last week in their victory over West Ashley. I think it was West Ashley. Yeah, 18-12. So kind of a surprise there they didn't score more. We talk about Zoltan Osborne, those guys can sling it all around the yard. So interesting to see what happens to see if it was maybe just kind of a blip on the radar there last week, or if they had more problems. I hope not, but we'll see. Hopefully they can put up some points and have a nice win.
You don't want to give Somerville a chance to pull the upset there.
That's right.
Got Waccamaw hosting Socastee. Burns will go to Wade Hampton. Walhalla hosting Woodmont, and Wanda will go to West Ashley. And then we'll look at 4A here. Starting off with, let's see, this looks like.
Start 5A again, doesn't it?
All right. North Augusta will go to Aiken.
There we go.
Airport will be at Bamberg Earhart. Another
interesting kind of
cross-classification game in the season. Beaufort will go to Colleton County. AC Floor will be at Dreer. Manning will go to, actually, I think it's Travelers Rest going to Easley. Eastside will be at Greenville. Darlington will go to Hartsville. Hilton Head will be hosting May River. Indian hosting Lancaster. James Island hosting Bluffton. Greer will go to Lawrence. This game has a lot of playoff implications for this region as well.
Yeah, I believe we mentioned it last week, but just in case we didn't, Lawrence missed 2 games due to COVID this year against Greenwood and Greenville. That region is Greenwood, Greenville, Lawrence, Greer, Eastside. So Lawrence will only play 3 region games. What they're going to do is they're going to count wins only instead of total records. So could get some funky stuff, or there's a chance that Lawrence ends up as the 2 seed in that region. They beat Greer, and Greenville falls down to 3, which would be a heck of a 3 seed, which might match up with them round one. Interesting way that they're going to have to do that with those COVID cancellations. I thought they were going to count them as losses, but they're not. So kind of a weird thing. But if Greer wins this game, it'll take care of itself. So we'll see what happens with there. But a lot of things to be decided still in that kind of Reed River region there in 4A.
Yeah, I think Lawrence got a great chance to win that game.
They've got a good football team.
Lawrence is pretty solid. We've got Irmo will go to Lugoff Elgin. Now, Irmo trying to bounce back. And I'll tell you what, Lugoff has been in a heck of a situation here last few weeks.
Yes.
They have to play AC Flora after AC Flora gets beat. Felt the wrath of the Falcons in that one. Now they got to face Irma after Irma had a tough loss against Westwood.
Tough loss.
Tough to draw for the Demons here.
Irma goes from being the 1 seed in the region to probably falling down to number 3 now, having to go on the road in the playoffs. So it was a bad loss for the Yellow Jackets last week.
Yeah, very detrimental for those guys there. This is a big PD. We talked about maybe including this game in the top 4, but North Myrtle Beach is falling off a little bit. We thought they were going to be a little bit better this year, but North Myrtle Beach will go to Myrtle Beach for their big game. This past few years, this has been a big-time decider in who gets the home field advantage in the playoffs. But Myrtle Beach should be able to walk with this one. But
you never know.
North Myrtle Beach, you got the talent to make this game.
So that's right. And I think this year everything's pretty much decided in that region, so this doesn't have any effect on the region. But you obviously want to win that game for such a big rivalry ball game there. I think Myrtle Beach just has too much talent, I think, for the Chiefs. But it could be a good ball game there, Doug Shaw, for sure.
We've got West Side will go to Pickens. South Aiken going to host Midland Valley. We talked about one of our other games of the week. And this is probably the biggest game in the state. South Pointe hosting York. We've got Walhalla will host Woodmont. I think I mentioned that because that's another cross-classification game. Big game in Florence. This is not as big of a game as it would have been in the middle of the season, but South Florence and West Florence. This is a fun game to be at.
Yeah, South Florence coming off a tough loss last week to Myrtle Beach. I think they're guaranteed that 2 seed in that region, so they're getting a home game too. But West is a team that we talk about how they play defense. They could be very good in the playoffs as well. Interesting matchup there to see what West can do against that South Florence offense.
Yeah, West Florence the last few years has been the better program.
Yeah.
This would be a good chance for South Florence to bounce back a little bit and right the ship there in that rivalry. And then we've got Richmond Northeast will head to Westwood. Your team of the week coming off a huge
big win.
against Irmo Yellow Jackets.
Down, I think 34-14. It's the 2 Irmo came back to win that ball game. Big win for them. A couple comments here. Derek says, "Come on down to the swamp and said, I'll treat us to a good barbecue sandwich and a drink, John." Hey, now, I'm only coming up at Schuler's Barbecue, Derek. Come on now. Don't joke with me here. Chris Blanton says, "What's up?" Go ahead.
We haven't had barbecue at a game yet this year.
We haven't. We're missing out. What's that? And then Chris said, South Pointe York will be a slobber knocker. We agree. That was one of our games of the week, so if you want to go back, check it out at the beginning of the show. We both lean South Pointe, but should be a good ball game for sure, John. Let's look at some 3A stuff here.
And, while I'm thinking about it, that part of the state may have the best game day grub.
Dylan with the chicken bog. Yeah,
Dylan's chicken bog.
You can't beat it. Can't beat it in the PD.
Pretty doggone good there.
Can't beat it down there.
Hopping into 3A, I'm not sure what kind of concessions Academic Magnet has, but they will be hosting Oceanside. Daniel will go to Belton Honeypath. Blue Ridge hosting Berea. Brooklyn Casey hosting Orangeburg Wilkinson.
Big game there in that region. I think there's still a 3-way tie now. I know Strong Thurman got beat by Gilbert last week.
Right.
But I believe OW, BC, and Gilbert are all still tied for that region lead. So that we could end up with a 2-way tie there for the lead. I'm thinking it's probably what's going to happen. I don't know what the tiebreaker is going to be there. So big ball game there down at the cage.
Yeah, Orangeburg Wilkinson's good enough to win this game.
They are.
They're
really good defense. Really good defense.
Especially, we've seen Brooklyn Casey kind of be inconsistent this year. So that game is certainly I went bet the house against that one.
Yeah.
We got Broome going to Chapman.
Could be a lot of points in that one. I tell you that. Chapman locked up the region last week with the win over the win over Union County. Broome can swing it around with Dylan Ramirez. We know what Chapman can do with Settle and Black and those guys. Could be an offensive shootout over there at Chapman for sure.
Yeah, and Chapman had a lot of trouble with Union County last week.
They did. Went to overtime. Yeah.
That gives Broome some hope in this game to make some noise because I think Broome's probably better than Union.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this if Chapman's got 2 weeks in a row where they have some struggling defense, Broome's got a chance.
Yep.
We've got Fox Creek will host Strom Thurman. Hanahan, another big rivalry here. Hanahan hosting Bishop England. Those two do not get along. Chesney will be at Mid Carolina. This game will be on a Thursday. North Charleston hosting Battery Creek.
Now, and I want to say Battery Creek with head coach Terrence Ash hadn't played but a couple games this year due to COVID issues and whatnot. So you hate to see that because we thought we were kind of getting out of it, but I know they've had a tough start to the year. But hopefully they can play well Thursday night.
Yeah, at least close it out strong. We got Carolina will go to Palmetto. Wren will be at Pendleton. Powdersville hosting Southside, trying to put a cap on
Region championship on the line there as well. Yeah, I think Southside, is only 4-5, but they're undefeated in region this year. Powdersville is still undefeated on the season. We saw them a couple weeks ago, John. Thomas Williams is back. He played last Friday night for those guys.
Good.
I think even though they're both, even record in region, I think Powdersville is way better. I'm leaning towards the Patriots here. And if you missed our interview last week with Coach Robert Musk, check that out on our Facebook page. Really good stuff, really good insight on what it was like starting the program from scratch, and then, some of the playmakers they've got this year on the team and whatnot. So definitely check that out. But I think Powdersville gets the win and clinches that region Friday night.
Yeah, really check out that really good story about the Powdersville Patriots. Really cool how they've gone from literally nothing to now having an undefeated season. I think they're going to be a big time player in the playoffs.
That's right.
This year. Really excited about them. They're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they got some firepower. They do.
Yeah, they're a good team. We have Gilbert going to Swansea, Union hosting Emerald, and Woodruff will be hosting Clinton.
I think Union County gets their one win of the season this Friday night over Emerald there. I believe I'm picking those guys.
They should. They should. And hey, let's, you had a good game last week. You gave Chapman everything you had. Let's go out and get a win.
A couple comments here. Derek says he'll get Schuler's to cater for us, John. Let's change the plans. Hold now. Chris Blanton says, what y'all think about those Gaffney Indians? Gaffney, they're going to get an easy win over Fort Mill, I think. That was, I tell you what, Chris, I don't know if you were at the game Friday. I know Patrick was. I was a little worried. I know they kind of struggled offensively for a bit against Clover there. Clover kind of stacked the box and kind of stopped that offense. I know you guys had a defensive touchdown, so it worried me a little bit, but I think you guys you'll be fine in the playoffs for sure. And then he also says Broome ain't that good, don't have a defense. Yeah, Broome can't stop anybody, but I don't know if Chapman can either.
Hey,
so we'll see how that goes.
After what they put out on the field against Union last week,
who knows?
Chapman's defense better show up because they didn't show up last Friday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Going into 2A, got some good games in 2A here.
We do.
This year. Or some rivalry games here this week as well. Got Buford going to Andrew Jackson. I think AJ will going to roll in this one. Buford, not too great right now. Andrews hosting Carver's Bay. Wade Hampton will be at Barnwell.
A game that I think Wade Hampton's going to blow them out because I don't want to make Barnwell anymore. I thought they were getting better. They had the bad loss early in the year to Calhoun Falls, I believe it was. They came back with some nice wins. Had the lead over Silver Bluff at halftime a couple weeks ago. They get outscored 40-0 or whatever it was in the second half, and lose to Pillion last week. A team that we don't think is very good. I think Barnwell's looking to get in that 4 seed in that region now, having to travel every week. And it's surprising because they got their playmaker back. The Pinder kid is back from the Collie one, I believe, unless he didn't play last. I know he was back 2 weeks ago against Silver Bluff. So I don't know what to make of those guys, but I think what I saw projected-wise, they could be a 4 seed traveling to Marion in round 1. That's a game where if you're Marion, that's not who you want to see in the first round.
No, it's
just
not.
Looking at their history over there at the Warhorses in Barnwell, but I don't know what's going on with those guys, but they need to win heading into the playoffs.
Yeah. And Wade Hampton's a good team.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get one for sure.
Wade Hampton's a very good team. I might be with you on that one. I think Wade Hampton might be. And it's so hard to pick against Barnwell. As good as
they've been powerhouse for year after year after year.
But yeah, rough year for Barnwell right now. We've got Sherrall hosting Chesterfield. Big game over there. Abbey will be at Christchurch.
I believe that's technically for region, but it's not really for region. You know what I'm saying? Panthers going to roll, I believe, in that one Friday night.
Go ahead and put Abbeville on the trophy there. Eau Claire will go to Columbia. Crescent will be hosting Liberty. Edisto hosting Pillion. I expect Pillion to keep the momentum rolling and win that game. We've got Gray hosting Newberry for the region, right?
I believe so. Gray is 4-0 in region. Newberry and Saluda both 3-1. If Saluda wins, then Newberry can win. They'll be a 3-way tie. I don't know what their tiebreaker is there. Last regular season game for head coach Phil Strickland at Newberry before he retires there. I think Gray has too much firepower, and with Casey Adams and Trey Robinson, they'll talk about every week how good they are. Also, happy birthday to Gray Collegiate head coach Adam Holmes.
Okay, very
Shout
nice.
out, Coach Holmes. Happy birthday to you today,
very
man.
Nice.
Doing good things out there at Gray. I mean, I can't bet against KZ and those guys at home with the region on the line. There's no letdown spot for them. I think they beat Newberry by a couple scores Friday night.
Yeah, most likely, but you got to show up.
Yeah, Newberry's got talent too. They do have talent there.
Newberry's certainly good. They're not going to roll over, that's for sure. Especially for the region, like going on. Newberry and playing last game for their coach.
Yeah,
they're going to be pumped up.
Yep,
they're going to be ready to go. We got Lake Marion will be hosting Burke. Blacksburg will be at Legion Collegiate. 96 will be hosting West Oak. North Central will be hosting Central at Pageland. Philip Simmons, big win for them last week. I was impressed with their win over Timberland. They will be hosting Richland Hardyville. St. Joseph's hosting Landrum, and Timberland will be hosting Woodland before they.
Yeah, Timberland tough loss last week for those guys. A couple comments here. Drell said a Schuler's road trip. I don't hate it, Drell. Chris says he wasn't at the Gaffney game. He was at Broome and Woodruff, but he was tuning in. He said he can do good things. You can recruit. And he said he'll take Newberry in that game over Gray. I'll tell you what, man. Gray's tough. Rashodi says Lamar had a great game against 3A Ainer last week, losing 12-6 in overtime. That is a wild one.
Great game.
Both teams. I think both teams got a lot better for that ball game. Those are two good football teams. I think Ainer's in the top 10 now in their classification. Lamar obviously top 10 in 1A. Really good ball game. Sounds like wish I could have been there, but hats off to the Blue Jackets pulling over that win over the Silver Foxes.
Yeah, well, I'm impressed with Lamar too.
Yeah,
Ainer's no joke. That was very impressive by Lamar.
Hey, and hats off to those guys and Coach. Can't think of his name right now. But Lamar scheduling some big out of conference games with Timberland, and then even Dillon and Ainer. So they've stepped up and they haven't played just one schools. They played some bigger boys this season too.
Yeah, I love it. And that's going to go a long way, I think, in the playoffs.
Yep.
Jumping down to 1A, just a few games here. We've got Bethune-Bowman hosting Branchville. C.A. Johnson will be hosting McBee. Whitmire will go to Dixie. Allendale-Fairfax at Estill. We talked about the big one, the real big one here for 1A. Lakeview hosting Green Sea-Floyds. Timmonsville wrapping up the program.
Last game ever for the Whirlwinds, huh?
Yeah. They get it home, so that's cool. Playing Hanna Pamplico. Gosh, I'd love to see it upset.
Sad to see it, man.
Boy, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, the Raiders are going to be upset, especially coming off that tough loss last week to Ainer, correct? No, to Green Sea-Floyds, sorry. Yeah, tough loss. So I know that the Coach Johnson had those guys ready to roll. But yeah, Timmons will be great to see him get a win, but I don't think it's going to happen Friday night.
Yeah, they've had a rough last dance here. And then we've got, wrapping it up, Southside Christian will go to Ware Shoals.
Yeah, the 1A favorite there. I saw Jacory Martin in here earlier. Appreciate you, Jacory, for tuning in, man. Really good quarterback down there for the Sabres. Big win last week over Dixie. Dixie actually did score points, so somebody other than 4A Greer has now scored on those guys, which is crazy. But Southside is going to be tough. It's going to be a really tough out for anybody in 1A this year, John. Let's run through our pick'em results right quick here. If you guys haven't been a part of it this year, you really missed out. It was a lot of fun. We did 10 games a week. You pick them. We're doing a prize at the end of the season, so we're still trying to figure out how we're going to work that because we got a lot of guys who may tie, so we're trying to figure out what the tiebreaker is going to be. I'll send it out in the email and the post this week what we're going to do, but let's look back at our Week 9 Pick'em leaders. We had a 5-way tie for first at 9-1 between Kane E, Charlie L, Tyler D, Hunter A, and Jarrell H, all at 9-1. Then had a 5-way tie for 6 as well with Curtis S, Mark F, Brian L, Chris G, Cal C, and Amy S, all at 8-2. I was at 8-2. John was at 7-3. So a nice bounce back week there after, was it last week we had the low scores 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, last week was
nice to see everybody kind of getting some picks right again. So hats off to those 5, Jarrell, Hunter, Tyler, Charlie, and Kane for time for that first place spot, John. And then our overall leaderboard, this is what really matters here, John. We told you we've been dropping the lowest score each week, or dropping your lowest score of the season. So if you had a 5 and you've got everybody else is higher than that, we'll drop your 5 off. So everybody's going to have, I guess, 10 scores at the end of the year after we get through Week 10 because of Week 0. And our leader, solo leader right now, Tyler D at 71. We've got 2 guys tied there for second, Kane and Charlie at 70. Mark F sitting right behind there at 68. Brian L at 67. Kyle and Amy at 65. Trevor, Chris, Jarrell, Ryan, and David at 64. I'm at 71. John, you're at 61. Really anybody's ball game here last week of the season. We got 3 or 4 guys who could certainly make a play and catch up here.
Yeah, I need all those guys to win the lottery this week and move to some remote island.
Just forget the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should see how this turns out. I mean, because I think we should have some tougher games this week. I think so. Yeah. We could see some 4s and 5s in there. So you have to bring your A game to get this win. But we've debated on if we're going to do the highest of the lowest scores gets the tiebreaker or what we're going to do. We're kind of still talking through that, but we'll have it settled out for us in the email out tomorrow. But appreciate all you guys. We've had usually 40 to 50 participants a week, so really cool to see everybody get in there. We appreciate you guys doing that and being a part of it. We really enjoyed it. We'll certainly do it again next year, and hopefully next year can be a little more smoother because hopefully we'll know for sure when games are getting played. Won't be as many cancellations and movements and whatnot. So next year should be even better. But appreciate you guys who have played along with our pick'em all season long, John. Let's give one more shout out here to our friends before we get into the polls that just dropped today. First one over at the Georgia Agency. My friend Bradley George just played golf with him this weekend. Really good dude there. If you guys need health insurance, life insurance, insurance for your small business for all your employees, give those guys a buzz. Check them out at thegeorgiaagency.net. They can help you out with all that. They've been in South Carolina for 35 years. Offices in Mullins and Merle's Inn. They can help you out all across the state. So give those guys a buzz. Check them out at thegeorgiaagency.net. And then our friends over at Secured Advantage Federal Credit Union. They have a clear purpose to improve the financial lives of their members. They offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees that other banks do. Whatever your personal journey, Security Advantage is here to offer you smart financial solutions. Join today at securitadvantagefcu.com. Win at banking, thrive at life. Member NCUA. Offices in Duncan and Central and other places as well. They can definitely help you out. So tell them the Movin the Chains boys sent you, and they will hopefully take care of you guys. A couple comments here I want to get to. Derek said he'll also treat Jarrell to some Lakeview hospitality as long as they win. A little caveat. I like that, Derek. I appreciate that. Bill Hensley says, hey, fellas, getting late here, or late getting here. Bill, appreciate you tuning in, man. A big win for Greenwood last week, locking in that region. We talked about it earlier about how they're going to work this Lawrence playoff fiasco here and how that's going to play out. I don't know what to think about that, but Greenwood should get a nice win this week over Bowling Springs and set themselves up for a very good spot. Chris, that has been fun to do the pick 'em. Yeah, Chris, I really enjoyed it too, man. Hopefully next year I'll be a little bit smoother. Appreciate you guys who have done it. Thank you, Chris, for being a part of the week for sure. But John, let's give a look, see at some of the 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A polls that just dropped today. I don't know if they do them in the playoffs. Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure they do not.
So maybe the final poll, certainly the final regular season poll until the seasons or until the playoffs are done with. But let's roll through that, John, and give a look at what we can pick on this week out of that.
I think they do one more.
Okay.
At the end of the regular season, but I'm not positive. We'll see. Could be the last one.
Let's do it.
Starting 5A, Dutch Fork again, number 1.
Surprise, surprise.
Fort Dorchester stays 2. Gaffney remains 3. Hanna comes in at 4. Northwestern stays 5. Sumter 6. Spring Valley 7. Hillcrest is 8. Lexington 9. Chapin 10.
Tell you what, man, there's just some teams in that top 10 we haven't really talked about it all this year. We mentioned Spring Valley when they beat South Pointe, talked to them briefly there. Sumter, we haven't really been high on them. They lost early to AC Flora, lost a lot of guys from last year's team. They haven't hit much on the Gamecocks, but they keep winning as well.
Yeah, Sumter just hasn't had a ton of Flora. That first game was probably the biggest game they've had all year.
I know when they beat Carolina Forest had a lot of guys out in early in the year, so that wasn't really a big win necessarily at that point. So I don't really know what to think of those guys still, honestly, out of Sumter.
Yeah, people are going to have to say a lot of film on those guys.
Yeah.
Jumping down to 4A, we've got Myrtle Beach.
Third week in a row with the new number 1.
Number 1.
It might be the cursed spot right now. You don't want to be there.
It could be.
North Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Watch out.
And they've got 11 of the 17 first place votes. Number 2 getting 3 of those votes is South Pointe. I don't understand this. Greenwood's number 3. They get no votes. They just beat Greenwood.
Yeah. A good Greenwood team. Yeah.
They're a very good team. They've got no first place votes. AC Florida's 4th. They've got 3 votes.
Yeah.
Greenville is 5th. So they were 5th a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Jumped up
to 1. Yeah.
Back to 5. York is 6th. South Florence 7th. West Florence 8th.
Big matchup there.
May River 9th. And Beaufort coming in at 10th.
A team I saw in other receiving votes there, they talked either South Aiken. That's a team that's had a really good season. I think they're I believe clinched that region already. They're going to be a tough out as well. The Thoroughbreds are there in the playoffs.
Yeah, just right there on the cusp. I don't think they've been in the top 10 all year.
I don't think they have either.
Going down to 3A, we've got Daniel getting all of those first place votes at number 1. Dillon is number 2. Chapman 3. Camden 4. Clinton is 5. Powdersville 6. Lower Richland is now 7. Brooklyn Casey 8. Gilbert 9. And Ainer rounding out the top 10.
A team that I like seeing there, John, is one that's receiving votes. That's Oceanside Collegiate.
Yeah.
They lost a couple games early in the year to Gray and to the team in North Carolina. Was it Huff or Butler, one of those guys? But they've been really rolling since then. Haven't gotten a lot of respect, and I think they're a team that's going to make some noise as well in the playoffs.
I think so too. They're another one that we haven't really talked about a ton, but they have been playing a lot better as the season's gone. I think their first game up. I think they played Myrtle Beach maybe in their first game.
No, No, they played them later on. It was kind of a reschedule. I think they got.
Okay. Maybe they're supposed to play first game, and they're very competitive with them. But I think Oceanside, they're going to
be sneaky.
They might sneak up on some folks. Going down to 2A, we got Abbeville number 1, Gray Collegiate number 2, and Gray getting one first place.
Still getting one vote.
Getting one vote. We've got 3rd, Silver Bluff, 4th, Marion. 5th is now Philip Simmons. Saluda is 6. Chesterfield 7. Timberland 8. Christchurch 9. And Wade Hampton at 10.
Yeah, surprising to see that Philip Simmons didn't jump higher after that win over Timberland. I thought they maybe go into that 3 spot, or maybe not 3, but probably that 4 spot ahead of Marion. Marion, I believe, off this week. And I tell you what, the Swamp Foxes, I think a lot of these votes they're getting are based off what they did last year. Not saying they're not a good team. They just haven't really played anybody yet.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that's kind of a weak region there. So I thought that the Philip Simmons may jump those guys, but they didn't. And then Chesterfield, big win over Andrew Jackson last week. I believe Princeton region for those guys. Big win for those guys. They can score some points for sure. But
very high-powered Rams team.
2A is going to be fun. 2A is going to be fun.
2A's got a lot of, we know what Gray is, and we know what Abbeville is, but everybody got a couple of them that can really mix it up. It's going to be fun. And then closing out with 1A, got Southside Christian, of course, number 1, getting all the votes there. Bamberg Earhart is 2, Baptist Hill 3, Lamar is 4, Whale Branch at 5, Rich Spring Monetta 6, Lakeview 7, Green Sea-Floyds 8, C.E. Murray is 9th, and Calhoun County coming in at 10th spot.
Yeah, so big matchup. We talked about Lakeview Green Sea-Floyds, maybe big matchup there for sure. Kind of surprised C.E. Murray is a team that we hadn't talked much about. I think they won their region there. A couple nice wins later in the year for those guys. I tell you what, people I don't know anything about, John. Baptist Hill.
I was just about to say.
Okay, they're sitting there at 3. I don't know anything about those guys, but I mean, to be ahead of Lamar must be good.
Really good.
Somebody thinks they're pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'd have a hard time putting them ahead of Lamar for sure.
I would too,
personally, but
I have a hard time putting them ahead of Lake.
Yeah, that's very true as well. That's very true as well. Then we know Calhoun County there at 10 has had some nice wins. They've also had some bad losses.
Yeah.
One is I think we talked about it how we think the Southside Christians probably head and shoulders better than most teams in 1A. I don't know if anybody can play with them. We'll see. But there's some good depth there behind them for sure.
And, I'd like to see what they would do against a Bamberg or a Lamar. If Southside had to play Anna, I'd say, "Ooh, that's gonna be a really close game."
Yeah.
Well, Lamar did it, and it was a very close game.
Yeah.
So
Lakeview played them close too early in the year.
Yeah, that's right. 1A will be fun to watch as well.
For sure.
Well, I'll look forward to next week.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff. If you guys are just tuning in now, I see we've got Ryan and Cheryl and Bill and those guys in here. Don't forget, next week we'll be doing our playoff preview shows, 1, 2, and 3A one night, and 4 and 5A one night. Definitely want to check those out. We go through the whole bracket. We kind of pick, we pick the week, the round 1 games, of course, and we kind of give some far-off predictions where we think this team's going to win, and then we'll do it in the next week and whatnot. But a lot of fun to do those playoff preview shows because we don't know what's going to happen, but it's cool to see and get involved with that stuff. That'll be a lot of fun. So definitely tune in for those next probably Tuesday and Wednesdays what we're looking at. So this is your first time tuning in. Appreciate it. Like our post here, like our video, like our page, so you'll know when we go live next week. We usually do a preview show on Tuesdays. Will happen next week for sure. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify for our audio-only version. We do a audio-only version of this show that gets put on there tonight. We'll have an audio-only version of our recap show that'll go on there Sunday, talking about everything that happened in the previous week. So lots of good stuff there. We've got some good interviews coming for you guys down the pipe. We're going to get some different coaches lined up for the playoff push there. It'll be fun to check that out. If you missed our interviews earlier this year with either Rob Sanders from Riverside's quarterback, or Ethan Campbell, Clinton, D.C., or even Robert Muster, Powderville head coach last week. Really good insights and stuff that is still valuable now, even though it's later down the road for sure. Just kind of learn. Cool to get the stories behind some of those guys. So definitely check those out. John, anything you want to add here as we get ready to get off here into Week 10?
I don't think so. We at this point in the season, we know what's ahead of us. We know what's on the table and what certain schools have to do.
That's right. Derek says, good job again, guys. Derek, we appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for the kind words. And one more thing I want to hit on, the pick 'em. Don't forget to pick 'em. If you're in a position to win, you do not want to miss your picks this week. So definitely be in tune for that. Probably going out tomorrow morning. I'll probably get that posted, what we're going to do as far as the tiebreaker and everything. So definitely get your 10 picks in. Try to win that prize. You want. I mean, this is the inaugural pick 'em championship.
That's right.
This is like bragging rights for a while.
Nobody can be first. Only one person.
You got to get that
Only one
dub.
person
So
first.
if you're in there, definitely be a part of it. Even if you didn't do it all year and want to do it for a week, might as well do it. We're still, scoring the weekly stuff, so might as well do it for 1 week. Why not? But I think that's all I need to hit on, John. I think we're good to go. We'll probably be at Hillcrest, TL Hanna, like we mentioned. So if you guys are there Friday night, definitely say hey to us. Love chatting with. I know we'll probably see Jeff out there. A couple other guys. I know we got some TL Hanna fans who follow us as well. So definitely feel free to come say hey and talk some ball with us. We love doing it. And excited, John, to get on the road for some playoff matchups too. I know we were looking at it at lunch day about some different potential projections for the playoffs round one. We're like, this game looks pretty good. This game looks good. So excited to see where that lines out and to get that preview show going, and to get down to some games next Friday night for sure. But for John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. We are moving the chains. It's been our Week 10 high school football preview show. We'll catch you guys next week.